Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have my colleague and we just want to have a quick chat. We know each year we usually have about 40 to 50,000 houses that are handed over in Dubai, and during uncertain times like the ones that we are in right now, what happens to someone who is in abroad, somewhere in UK, US, Australia, and they're not able to get their handover? Like, what usually happens? So we want to have a quick chat about property management with my colleague. She's called Beza. If you have any questions, let us know. So we are tackling all the major questions that are usually asked by for property management in Dubai. What is property management? Because most of the investors, what they do, they usually buy properties when they're abroad, and then they get handover, they give the property to an agent, the property is rented out, and then like they keep getting their money and all that. Like, what's property management?
So basically, property management is a service we give to landlords to make sure that their property will always be kept brand new, number one. So all over the year, all over the tenancy, the property will be managed and professionally managed and be kept brand new. Another thing we provide for landlord is peace of mind, knowing that every operation of the property's day-to-day hassle is being taken care of by professionals. And another thing is, when it comes to financial, everything from collecting of the checks, depositing of the checks here, whether it is here in Dubai or internationally, and also any kind of bills that needs to be paid here in Dubai, all financial support we provide to the landlords. So in short terms, property management is a service to make sure that a landlord have hassle-free and peace of mind when it comes to their properties.
Yeah, so what are some of the things that you do in property management? So one is like banking the checks, making sure like the tenant, like checking the property, you check the property every now and then to make sure like it's being managed well by the tenant. What others like services do you offer in property management?
Okay, so basically I like to talk about property management in a cycle, because it is in a way a cycle kind of services that we do. So every property management service starts with full property inspection, and if the property is not handed over, we do full property inspection, which is called snagging during that time. Yes. So we start by inspection. We do have certified inspectors that will check all of the property details, and then that will be documented for our references and also will be given to the landlords. So if the property is not handed over yet, this report will be given to the international landlord, and then we will follow up with the developer that is within Dubai to coordinate and make sure every single thing is fixed within the property, and we will then go ahead for a de-snagging appointment just to make sure those things are fixed and the property is perfect before we go ahead with the handover of the keys, right? After that, we will have a professional photography for the unit. We will coordinate professional photography, and then we will advertise the properties in premium listings. So when we do advertise in premium listing, it is going to be in the top 3 of all of Dubai's portals, meaning we will get our properties that are managed will get more visibilities, and
in property finder by you on the top property portals in Dubai.
Yeah, basically. So we will get tenants much faster than other properties in the area. And when we do get tenants, we tend to do background checks on the tenants, because we don't want unqualified tenants that cannot pay their rent or have previously traveled their previous landlords into our property, because that is going to be a hassle for us and the landlord as well. So after that, all of the property registrations like DIWA, coordinating with the tenants, coordinating with the developer, all of the hassle will be done by our team. So both the tenant and the landlord will have hassle-free when it comes to renting the property. And after that, it goes to a second full property inspection when the tenant is physical. See, Doris, whenever you do rent the property, having a full property inspection that the tenant signs on it is very important, because on the time of checkout, when the tenant is leaving the property, we know what to compare the property to, and the tenant has given us evidence of what the property looked like. So in this way, landlords can save thousands of dirhams in maintenance and also rectification works after the tenants leave. So basically, these are the things we do. One thing I forgot to mention is the financial part of property management. So when we turn a property to generate return on investment, we we will collect the checks for our landlords. We will bank it both here in Dubai or both internationally in all over the world. Aside from that, all of the maintenances and everything in the property, we make sure that our landlord have as minimum cost as possible and make as much as net profit as possible from their property. So I think this is a summary of what we do.
Yeah, so for most property management, they make sure they get you a good tenant. They do the background check, which you don't have to do, especially when you're abroad. You don't know what kind of a tenant has been put in your property. And then also in case the checks bounces, like you don't have to stress all about that. And I just want to find out, like, how much do you charge for the property management?
So in average, we do charge from 7% to 5% of the annual rental. And that is like a general charging, but really depends from property to property.
From property to property. And for international clients, do you also do property management? Let's say someone is in UK or in the US, can they also get the same service?
Yeah, basically. So most of the time, our property management is really highly beneficial for landlords that are abroad, so that they will benefit from our services even more than the ones that are here in Dubai.
Exactly, and especially for people who have like 2, 3, 4 properties in different locations, it's usually good to have a property manager because different locations have different requirements. Yeah, and property managers have already specialized. They already know what is needed for where. And then also, like, how long does it take to get a tenant? Let's say you're a property manager, you've been given a property to manage. How long does it take to get a tenant?
So basically, we tend to get a tenant as fast as possible. Obviously, I cannot give you a specific amount of time because it does differ from area to property and everything. But we tend to invest in advertisements even more. Make sure to connect with our local inquiries. We do have a lot of agents that are working with us, so we make sure that we will get a tenant as soon as possible rather than other properties that are not managed.
Another question usually most of the investors ask is who handles the maintenance and the repairs, and usually is there a percentage like of how much needs to be paid by the landlord or by the tenant?
So when it comes to who handles maintenances, we do have companies that we work with. Companies we work with for all of our properties, and we get a very good rates for properties. So, and when it comes to what is the minor, major slash for the tenant and landlord, it differs from property to the property. But if it is unfurnished, for apartment it is 500. For villas it is 1,000, and for furnished apartment it is 1,000. So anything that is below 1,000 tenant pays, and anything that is above 1,000 landlord pays. One thing I want to stress here is anything that comes from a misuse of a tenant is also paid by the tenant.
By the tenant. Okay, that's okay. Anything above 500 or 1,000 in villas, then the landlord pays. And how often do you usually update the landlord? Like, how you as a property manager, how often do you keep in touch with the landlord and update them? This is what is happening.
So basically, it is kind of a weekly conversation, to be honest with you. In paper, we say once a month we send an email report to the landlord what is happening to the property. But we become very close that we will handle their properties very well. It becomes a weekly or day-to-day conversation to the point that we're just messaging back and forth, and they get updates on the properties very quickly.
Yeah. So guys, if you're even if you're in Dubai or international client and you just want someone to manage your properties, reach out to us. We're able to manage your properties. I'll share my number here, especially for people who are very busy. So once you buy your property, it's supposed to be passive income. You don't want it to be another job, like you're stressing at night, someone has not paid the rent, someone the tenant is contacting you, like the maintenance is having issues and all that. You don't need to do all that, and usually the cost is very low, because you imagine 5% of the total annual rent that you get in a year, it's usually very small, like 5,000, 7,000 dirham, but the property is being taken care of by someone who is doing it like 100% of their time, and then you can take your time and and do whatever you do whatever business that you're involved in without stressing about your property. So this is what property managers do. So reach out to us if you have properties in UAE and you're looking for property managers. Usually they're very quick and they're very fast, and they're always on the ground and checking the properties every now and then. Peace and
Thank you
stay
for-
safe.
Stay safe and thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Doris.
Thank you.